swear I brushed my hair. Hi, I'm Kate, and welcome to Always Tuck and Roll. We discuss life, the universe, and everything through the lens of autism. Because autistic kind of colors everything about how I view the world. That's how it all works, realistically. And you know what? I am now officially 2 years into my formal autism diagnosis. And I feel like the only thing I have to show for that is my Awesome America the Beautiful Park Pass, which I got about a week after I got my diagnosis. We were at Acadia National Park with some friends, and we got up to the pay gate, and park ranger, pops her head into the window and's like, does anyone have any military service? And we're like, no. And she's like, does anyone have any permanent disabilities? And Pete and I in unison were like, I'm autistic. Well, he indicated that I was, and I indicated that I was, and it was honestly the first time we'd ever truly, said it out loud to people that weren't, family or friends. It was almost exactly a week after the diagnosis, and, we had told our friends when we got to the Airbnb we were all renting, that I had gotten my formal diagnosis. No one was actually all that surprised. Because they've met me. But so that was the first, because it was funny because all of a sudden this woman's like, winner, and handing me this little tiny clipboard to fill out, and I'm looking at the card and she's like, print your name on the card, and I'm like, it says to sign it. She's like, we prefer printing, honey, and I was like, oh, okay, and didn't even understand what had happened until we had this awesome card and a hang tag going through, and everyone's like, yay, we got in for free. And I was like, what just happened? And it turned out that if you have a disability at a national park and you let the rangers know, you get an America the Beauty Park Pass so that you can get in for free. And it works for all national public lands, so that's really cool. Strangely only used it so far at Acadia and Death Valley, so I feel like I need to go somewhere in the middle. I have a list of national parks I want to go to still, and Pete does too, so eventually, one day, we'll really utilize that pass more than just hey, we're going to Death Valley again. So, Death Valley's great. I will never go in the summer. Winter only. Very much winter only. I don't care about your notion of a dry heat. I don't care. Hot is hot. Just saying. Anyway, autism. That's what this was about. 2 years in, I am still doing some unpacking on the very notion that I am in fact autistic. Because when you make it to 38 before anyone's like, yes, you are definitely autistic, you then realize you've spent almost 4 decades not living a lie, but living life on hard mode, and you didn't even know there were different modes to life. It's frustrating to suddenly be like, oh, is that it? And life's full of revelations like that, honestly. Let's be honest here. But to suddenly find out that, yeah, you have an obvious communication neurological disorder is oh, well, yeah, all of that makes sense. But there's also the fact that you're okay, I've made it this far and no one said anything, so am I really that bad off, for lack of phrasing it, because I don't know how else to phrase it. I'm sure there's way better terminology, but that today is not my most verbally verbose day, honestly. And that's fine. But it's if this has been my situation for so long, how come no one noticed? How come? And a lot of it's because of masking, because you just figure out what works. And you put up those shields around you of, I'm fine, I'm rubber stamp fine, I'm good, I've got this. And you just keep going. And the thing is every single living person does this on some level. But when you're an undiagnosed, fully masked autistic, you are burning the candle at both ends and you don't even know the candle has two freaking ends lit. Is it too early in to start using words that... You know what? That wasn't technically a swear. I'm gonna keep going. Anyway, yes. So, because like it's what's funny right now for me is like I run into people at big life family events and stuff as we've had this year that I haven't seen in years that were around for my whole childhood or were there as I grew up as a parent friend or stuff. And so slowly I have been disclosing my diagnosis. And especially the ones in education, largely it's been like, what? No, no, you can't be. And it's like, well, yeah, I am, and have you been paying attention? And I don't begrudge anyone for not having seen it before or first fully absorbing it when I say it now, because it is a shift. It's a whole paradigm shift on some level, because I am still exactly who I've always been, but now I have a more specific idea of who I am. And I'm not like letting it limit me. I'm not like making it my personality, because I don't really know how to do that, nor do I think it's healthy to make any one attribute your entire personality for anything. But it would also never occur to me to do that because I'm more than my disability, but I'm still in the phase where I have to like internalize the fact that I have a disability sometimes, because it's one thing to know that autism is a disability, and it's also one thing to suspect you are in fact autistic. But those compartmentalized boxes are not the same box. They are wildly different. And I've spent the last 2 years trying to put them together to be like, because you are in fact autistic and autism is in fact a disability, guess what? You are an individual with a disability. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I can acknowledge that, but I haven't internalized that all of the way a lot of the time. Because pretender syndrome, realistically, is what that is. It's hard to know. Shifting how I view myself and my needs, and acknowledging that like I have needs that I shouldn't ignore because it's downright dangerous to ignore the things that are about to set me off or things like that, is I'm so used to just powering through everything, whether or not I should, just to get to the other side and survive, that I don't actually know how to live. I only know how to survive. And that has been an eye-opening revelation that, like, I've known, but I'm now internalizing and being like, oh, is maybe all of this linked together a bit? Because, yes, it is very clearly linked. And again, I'm still wrapping my head around all that. It feels like I should be wrapping my head around this faster. You know, I feel like I should have already like gotten here and to this point, and I guess I have been, but I'm also in a holding pattern. But realistically, I'm autistic. It's gonna take me longer to get there and internalize things and uncompartmentalize and absorb and feel, because those are, you know, maybe some of the issues or trouble spots, we'll call them, in autism. Or at least for me. Because guess what? It's a spectrum. Remember, if you know one autistic person, you know one autistic person. There's no rhyme or reason. We all have our own our own things, which is yet true of everyone, but also very much true within the spectrum. And that's, okay. The whole unmasking thing, I'm still working on. I actually think I started to unmask when I started therapy back in like 2021. So like 4.5 years ago at this point in time. And do I think that it affected my relationships with people at work? Yes, I do. I very much do. Because suddenly I was being encouraged to like push back and like stand up and also like just acknowledge that I myself have needs that, again, I would just ignore to keep everyone else happy so that they would leave me alone. And when I stopped doing that, things got dicey. Still doing my job, for the record. Hills I will die, and I was still doing my job, and I was doing the job to the best of my ability. Was I burnt out beyond all belief? Yes, I was. But even that way, I'm still a fairly competent human being. I'm just a completely miserable human being who will spiral much quicker, have a much harder time doing basic tasks, and also just maybe shouldn't be there. Like when I filled out my FMLA paperwork so that I could take a month off to figure out like what was even happening for me and to just recover from stuff and work things, and I was sitting there with HR and they were like, well, when you come back we should really talk about like workplace supports for you, because I hadn't even disclosed to I had told a few of my superiors, but I hadn't like told HR, and they found out like a few weeks before everything happened there. And they were like, we need to talk about workplace supports. And I was like, I've had 9 months and I haven't had any moments in those 9 months to figure out what would make sense. And it's because every single time I think I might be able to figure out what would make me better at my job, someone dumps more work on me. Anytime I ask for help, someone dumps more work on me. So there's no way forward when that is your existence, especially as as an autistic person, and especially not as someone with autism in full autistic burnout. So, and I could see her face. I think her face was shocked and a little bit I don't know. She did not seem pleased, and it did not seem directed at me. But I also don't know. I'm not a great judge of most people's emotions. I'm not even a great judge of my own emotions. So I recently had to acknowledge that, like, I don't like feeling feelings. I just don't. So I will avoid acknowledging that I have feelings so I don't have to feel them. But I'm, like, really good at denial. So, like, that's maybe part of it too. But I'm also told it's the hyper compartmentalization aspect that I need to maybe do less of. Is any of this making sense? Have I said the things that I wanted to say? I jotted notes down. This is the fourth time I've tried to shoot this video today, and it's not Thursday for the record. It's Wednesday. I'm trying a thing where I'm like ahead of the curve for once. I don't know if it's gonna work, but we're trying it. Yeah, I feel like I hit all my bullet points. That's good. Um, I mean, I don't know if I did for sure because, again, this is like the fourth time I've done this, and like the third time could have been great, but the microphone was so ridiculous during that it sounded like I was in a stadium by myself, and I don't know how to fix that because I don't know what I'm doing editing wise, and I'm only using free software, so I'm not even sure I could fix that if I knew how to fix that. So like we're just doing this again and hoping for the best, right? Because that's what I do. It's just me. Um, so we should probably leave it there before I get redundant or get more off topic or I'm tired because we went to a concert over the weekend, like last minute, but in a different state. And it was fun and no regrets, but I'm tired and I'm a little bit still like, but because we did a thing, I think I can, it's like, we went to a music fest and we bought tickets less than 24 hours before the show started. I can do this video. I can make things happen. It'll be fine. Yeah. We're trying to be proactive and productive this week while being a little bit tired and a little bit overstimulated. But don't worry, when I edit this video, I'm going to get way more overstimulated, and like that'll probably amp up the energy a little bit. So we'll see how that goes. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Try not to over compartmentalize unless you like really need that to survive, and then do what you gotta do. And when all else fails, just don't forget to chuck and roll. That today is not my most verbally verbose day.